You're doing lots of prep work for tomorrow's TI game,
Yes,
and you promise to not hate fuck Marcus from the word go this time.
I promise nothing. However, I have exacted my vengeance upon Marcus, so I have no need for additional hate fucking apart from what I've done to him for the previous few games. I have bled him sufficiently. I will never trust him. I will never barter with him in good faith, but I do not need to vengeance myself upon him.
This is how Holy Wars start, Sam.
Welcome to Brokusatsu, two brothers' exploration of tokusatsu shows and related media. My name's Sam.
And I'm Harry. And I apologize for maybe being distracted doing the notes of this episode because I found out a very interesting story about one of the actors. We're going to get into that later.
No, let's get into it now. Fucking dish, Harry.
No!
What?
Sam, if we start on this, I feel like the episode.
Wait. Let's be clear, Harry. You are worried about the integrity and the quality of one of our episodes. And
I'm
so
saying
you
don't
are
start.
saying that you cannot drop a very interesting anecdote because the quality of the show might suffer.
Don't start with the showstopper, Sam.
No, let's start with a showstopper and then let's stop the show.
I mean, we could. This is the kind of story where I feel like we could literally do a whole episode on it.
Well, maybe that's what this episode is, Harry, because, well, I mean, not
Like,
to get into it, but it wasn't the most interesting of episodes.
The problem is it was competent, and therefore it's a little hard to talk about. Like
Yeah.
that's why we've been talking about it. We're definitely going to start doing like multiple shows in an episode. Like we'll continue doing double shots of double, and then when that finishes, probably moving on to a different Kamen Rider or something. But we're also going to start with a different show at the same time, like maybe for each episode, like a movie or a Sentai episode or two, or like a Garo or something. Where we haven't decided yet, but we're definitely going to start doing something like that. Once you get used to some of the strangeness of double and figure out who the characters actually are and can actually start recognizing their faces, Sam.
It's not just a face thing. Look, the first 5 episodes of any season that we watch, I am not going to know anyone's name. I will literally know nothing about the characters.
We're oddly cursed with being too on topic for a podcast, so we need to broaden it out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to pad out our show with an additional episode or two of another series, which will be determined. We have no idea how it's going to go.
I'll bring up some candidates and I'll ask you. Actually, next episode we might start by watching the movie because after the next two is when you would watch like the movie part of Double, the Begins Night special.
Oh, is that when Akiko actually learns that her father is dead?
Yep, I double checked. It's covered there. They get into a whole thing.
Ouch.
Yeah. So next episode we are going to be covering that movie. We're going to be skipping the first part that's about Decade, but so it's a movie that's it's a combination Double and Decade movie in like 3 parts. First part is Decade, middle part is Double, then third part is like both kind of combined together. So we'll skip the first one because fuck Decade, and the third one we kind of got to watch, but we don't need to pay too much close attention to because you're not going to get a lot of it.
You know what? I'm going to watch the first part and be thoroughly confused by what's happening, which will not be any different than a regular episode of ours.
That's literally it's basically the final episode of the Decade series because the show ended weirdly on TV. So you're not going to get a lot of stuff.
That I so look forward to it, Harry. My speculation quarter is going to be on point next step.
Fuck it, we're going to do all of it then. We're going to watch all of the Begins Night movie
Great.
next time.
Wonderful. That's awesome. I don't know what I'm signing up for.
Oh, you just Sam, welcome to hell.
Mm-hmm.
But for today, just for now, we are going to cover episodes 11 and 12, the V for Vendetta arc.
Yes.
Starting off with Infected Vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Just as a minor note, we kind of touched on this earlier. These episodes, they're fine. They're pretty good episodes, which means that the episode of our show is going to be kind of boring. Unless an episode is just the most amazing Kamen Rider show ever, or unless it's an absolute dumpster fire, yeah, the review is going to be pretty boring.
I weirdly made a mistake in starting with Double because it's just a very well done show.
Yeah,
Like,
you should have picked a shittier one, Harry. Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I should have started with Decade. The
Great.
problem with that time is that I want you to continue to want to watch these shows.
You know
But
what? Since we're
now-
watching the final episode of Decade, let's just watch it in reverse. That's how we'll do. That's what we'll do for the back half of this, Harry. Like, we will watch Kamen Rider Double going forward, and we will watch Kamen Rider Decade going backward.
Every episode is just backwards, the subtitles, the backwards on screen. Like, he'll just be a strange suited monster transforming into a human, weird dialogue, and then the episodes end. Reverse explosions all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, the episode starts with a hit and run, which I was under the impression was a flash forward, but it turns out was a flashback.
Yeah, because if confuse a few days later and a few days earlier, it really messes up the timeline.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking, like, so you see a woman walking in the street, she's carrying a red umbrella, she gets hit by a car, like, there's a dramatic shot, umbrella flies everywhere, so I was thinking that, like, Akiko or Philip were going to pick up a red umbrella at some point in the episode, and that would be like, oh no, they're the one who's gonna get hit. But no, it turns out it was a flashback.
Oh, isn't that how I Met Your Mother ended? The lady with the umbrella?
Yeah, and she got hit by a car in the final episode.
Yeah, and, oh god, I've forgotten everything about that show, for good reasons, because that show turned out to be pretty forgettable.
Yeah, that's a show that, like, aged badly as it was currently on.
Yeah, Barney Stinson, isn't he, like, now that Me Too's happened, isn't he deplorable?
Yeah, and that was beginning while the show was still airing, and it was getting pretty awkward by the end.
I mean, he was deplorable before, it's just popular culture is able to admit it now.
Yeah. But anyway, after we see the flash forward / flashback / I don't care anymore, we go to the office where Akiko has a cold. Shotaro is very worried about catching a cold, but it is determined through science and experimentation that idiots are immune from colds. And so Shotaro is, of course, he has the most robust health system ever.
Yeah, it's a phrase in Japan, just kind of saying idiots can't catch colds. So there you go.
I see.
So it's like Philip, taking a comment and saying, like, what would be an English equivalent?
Fools rush in.
A bird in the hand is worth two in a bush, and then he'd be doing all kinds of calculation on bird flights and weights.
Gotcha. They receive a panicked phone call from someone who says that he is looking for someone who will tackle a case that the police won't touch.
Shotaro promises to solve the case in the most hard-boiled way possible.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up, and the client is immediately murdered.
Yes. By a car. He is run down by a car.
Which is kind of hard-boiled, I guess.
Except, like, and this is going to be a recurring theme, at least for the first part of this episode. So the guy was making a call, like, inside a small shack or, just kind of tucked away in an alley, and he was safe. Then Shotaro shows up, he runs into the middle of the street, and is hit by the car. So
there's lots of people running away from the car from hidden positions to roads, which is not great.
Yeah, they're going from a very safe spot to a spot where they could be dramatically killed.
Oh, and to be clear, when we say hit by a car, the car kind of glows and phases through him, and then the guy, like, twitches for a little bit and falls down dead. Yep. So it's not like it's not like, vehicular homicide. There's weird super science.
Yes.
And that's the cold open.
There's a very high body count in this series, I'm realizing.
Japanese children's shows aren't afraid to drop fools.
Shotaro is pulled into an interrogation room by Back Scratcher Cop and non-Back Scratcher Cop.
Makura initially is basically yelling at Shotaro to confess, even though he's the guy who was there and called it in. Some great police work here.
Well, hit and runs are notoriously hard to solve. And, let's be honest, like, Shotaro does show up around a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, it's a bit of a murder, she wrote thing.
Angela Lansbury, the deadliest motherfucker.
I mean, he clearly died of a virus, though, so that's probably why he's released so easily.
Well, you say clearly, like, I mean, the back scratcher cop has to deliver the report to Shitaro. Shitaro talks to Akiko. He is responsible for solving this case because his client died under his watch, even though he technically hadn't accepted the job yet, and is under no real obligation.
It's a bit of a pride. I mean, he's a private detective and someone got murdered right in front of him, like it was nothing. Like, he's gonna solve it. I can kind of see that.
Mm-hmm. Akiko is still wearing a face mask because she has a cold, even though she's sneezing on everyone and spreading the disease everywhere. Akiko is a very bad manager at this point. Like, people, if you're sick, stay home from work. Do not infect your coworkers, even if they're idiots and are probably immune from disease.
There's a brief scene with our favorite boy, Kirihiko.
Mm-hmm. And another memory dealer.
Like I said, they're spread out through the city in different areas. He wasn't the only guy selling it.
Kirihiko menaces the other dealer, and the other dealer says that he sold the memory but has not yet been paid, but he begs not to be killed because an interesting interaction has occurred.
When we cut back, we are in a scene with Watcherman. Now, to spoil something coming in later in the episode, the actor for Watcherman is the person who I found out the fucking bonkers story about.
Oh. I gotta be honest, if one character on the show was going to be acted by, someone with a bonkers life and backstory, I would have guessed Watcherman, with another sidebar possibly on Secret Santa.
It's Hamatsu Tomoaki, better known as Nasubi, which means eggplant.
Better known as the Tokyo Butcher?
No, probably better known as the naked man in apartment.
Wait, his apartment or someone else's apartment? Very, very important.
Everyone's apartment. We'll get into this is a post-episode thing. It's basically in the place of my question. I mean, it's kind of a question for all of humanity, but we'll get into it. We need to finish the episode first, or we'll never get it finished, or we'll never be done.
Now I have to, just think about stories of Watcherman being naked for the rest of the episode, Harry. What have you done?
It turns out that the victim was a gang member who was part of the gang of Cross, a pretty notorious gangster guy.
Yes, they are gun runners in the city, which, considering all the monsters running around, means they're actually doing a great civil service to all the civilians around here.
I mean, in Japan, actually smuggling in guns and being as free with them as these guys are, that is kind of high level. We're Americans, so we're able to go to a corner store and pick up machine guns pretty much, but for these guys, it's a huge escalation.
Shitaro and Akiko go to meet with Cross and his gang. They are menaced by Cross with an airsoft pistol and are kicked out. But Shitaro sticks around and he realizes that Cross is aware of who is going around killing his gang members and sends a couple lackeys to go find the car.
Like, one of the lackeys kind of just started blabbing instantly, "Hey, boss, do you think he was going to talk about..." But then he gets beat the hell up because, goddamn, you need to have tighter lips.
So, the two lackeys are walking towards a car park, and the evil car is there and starts to chase them down. One of the gang members does the wise move of stepping 3 feet to the right and ducking behind a pillar, while the other guy stays directly in the middle of the road and dies.
He does the survival move of standing in place and screaming, "Ah!"
Yep, he too is taken out by the, what do we want to call it, ethereal virus monster.
The virus car, let's call it that. The dopant in this episode is virus, it's pretty obvious. Shotaro actually manages to get a good look at the driver. It's not like a phantom car or anything, it's being driven by a regular looking guy.
Yeah, up to this point in the episode, I guess I was just assuming it was like a Stephen King car that was driving itself.
I mean, that's totally a thing that could happen, like vehicle dopant.
Shotaro transforms into Kamen Rider and is jumped by Kirihiko in his getup.
Kirihiko wants to see how this car thing is doing its murders. Nazca is even able to kind of knock Double out of a finishing move, which is almost breaking the rules of these shows.
So at this point, the second lackey has escaped from his safe position, runs into the street, and is killed.
And to be fair to everybody and their bad choice in hiding spaces, the car does kind of burst through a concrete pillar and ramp off the middle of a driving structure, so it's entirely possible that, for budget reasons, we're not should it, but this thing is fully capable of barreling through obstructions most of the time. Philip, considering that he has a photo of a guy, is able to quickly track down the driver. It is Yamamura Kohei, an 18-year-old, and a very relevant fact is that his sister was put into a coma in a hit-and-run about a week ago.
Yes, the character is an 18-year-old. The actor is clearly a 35-year-old man.
And the cops couldn't arrest the group for doing it because there was no physical evidence. There was only the eyewitness who was there at the time, and probably a few dents on the car.
The cops are the fucking worst. The cops are so bad in this town.
Trust only your fists.
And buy a gun from Cross. Because there's a lot of monsters, too.
Yeah, like, people need to defend themselves one way or another. Shotaro goes to confront Kohei, saying, like, hey, you're murdering people with a weird ghost car, right? And he doesn't really hide it. Like, this guy is on a revenge rampage, and he's not about to be talked out of it. So he runs away and manages to finally get on a car with the help of passing by fiancé of his sister in a coma.
There's a second character introduced. I immediately assumed that this character turned out to be the evil car.
He is secretly Turbo Teen. He ate the hot food.
Hey, you're watching Kamen Rider, you make some assumptions.
If they introduce a named character, you know, he's going to be part of the plot.
Shotaro and the fiancé have a heart-to-heart about how hard his life has been since his fiancé was, hit by a car.
Tragic. The brother, they didn't have any parents or anything, so they were the only people they had for each other, and now with her in a coma, it's questionable what's going to happen. We cut from this emotional scene to Akiko telling the mob boss, who is firing a machine gun in the middle of a warehouse and screaming at the walls.
Yep, Cross has like an M29 straight out of PUBG, which is, to be honest, a pretty effective anti-SUV weapon, so I gotta give him points for that.
When the car shows up, he just shoots the hell out of it, and for a little bit it seems like it's gonna work.
Yeah, this car is getting beat up. Like, all its tires are popped at this point, like its windshields are all shattered, bullet holes everywhere, but it's still coming. It's very persistent.
Through the power of anger and revenge, and also guy memories, it continues chasing the guy. And partway through the chase, Philip has a nice philosophical discussion with Shotaro about whether or not they should really just let this happen, because this Crops guy is a horrible gun-running gangster who, hit someone in the street and laughed it off.
But he's also selling the only effective protection that most of the civilians in this town have against the monsters.
Shotaro fires back with basically his modus operandi. He will protect everybody in the city, and he also knows that revenge won't, in the end, help Kohei feel any better.
Yeah, I was getting a very Shotaro as Batman, Philip as Alfred vibe from this episode.
It's not a terrible comparison.
Philip does seem like the kind of hero who would just, like, if he walked up on, like, a supervillain who was sleeping, he would just slit his throat open and walk away and not feel bad about it.
Double stops the car with his bike, and that doesn't work, and hits it with heat metal, then hits it with a tank, and then hits with another jet attack. Mm-hmm. And finally the car is fucked up.
Yes, he is concerned at some points in the fight that he is going to catch the virus, but Philip assures him that because he's so stupid, he is immune. So the car is destroyed, and the driver is pulled out of it. Like, I was checking the episode, like, wait, did I accidentally watch 2 episodes? Because this seems pretty climactic.
But Philip notices that no memory popped out of the vehicle or the driver.
Dun dun dun.
Neither of them was the dopant. And then a crazy tentacle beast shows up on a nearby building.
Yep.
Episode break.
When the episode comes back, Cross is immediately grabbed by the tentacle monster and murdered.
Yeah, good job, Shotaro. After some fighting, the dopant runs away, and Philip actually notices that Shotaro was holding back a little bit, because Shotaro, in his weird, emotional way, was able to notice that the dopant was crying.
If there's an actual dopant, like, clearly it's going to be the fiancé, and Shotaro and Philip come to the same conclusion.
Who is the other character in the episode? Well, it's the fiancé. Let's go meet him. Oh wait, he's being attacked by the dopants.
Oh no. But then that must mean that who's the only other character that's appeared in the episode that has a name? The Coma Girl?
Dun dun dun. So, Kirihiko has been, like, kind of looking for a Psycho who is still kind of mad at him for not being able to beat the main character in a previous episode. And he's trying to impress her by giving the new results of this thing that's happening. Mm-hmm. He reveals that, and as the main characters are investigating the Coma Girl and figuring it out, at the moment of the accident, she activated the guy memory, and it merged with, like, kind of her and her brother's emotions, and it started doing weird bullshit like possessing a car and, going around killing the people that wronged her.
Yeah, Psycho kind of shuts down Kirihiko at this point, saying that the revelation isn't at all interesting. They had discovered it before, and that the virus memory was actually significantly weakened by this. The virus memory is supposed to be able to take out entire cities.
Why were they selling it within their own city then?
I know, like the virus memory. It sounds like it's a WMD, and they just kind of
even for the Sonozaki family.
They have such a chill attitude about selling a WMD that a low-level lackey was able to just loan it randomly to a person on the street.
Someone bought this on advance. They're going to pay for it in installments.
Also, I kind of want to just do an aside a little bit here for Kirihiko and Psycho. Like, I think they need some counseling at this point. I know that they're newlyweds and that there's a lot of stress when couples come together for the first time, but, like, Psycho is really just pushing away Kirihiko. Kirihiko is putting in the effort.
He's trying to win her respect back by doing well at his job, but I feel like they should more be talking about, like, that's not super healthy either, Like, they should be talking about their emotions and the reasons that they got together.
Well, but the reason that they got together was specifically their careers and their job and their goals. So if he is failing in that, like, then they do need to work on that. But Psycho, really, you're shutting down your husband so hard here. Like, you're not listening to him. You're not communicating well. You need some counseling if your marriage is going to last. I'm still rooting for them. I am still rooting for these guys to make it work.
Oh, yeah, we're all taboo Nazca shippers over here. What's a cool ship name for them?
Tazka?
Sure, Tazka.
Kira...
The Tazka shippers.
Kira Psycho? Psycho Hiko? I don't know.
Yeah, let's go with Tazka.
Tazka. Alright, Tazka shipping. Philip walks into the hospital room and mind melds with the comatose lady, which is a new power that we are seeing for the first time.
He says that it's stuff because she's kind of transformed, and he does a link through the, like, Gaia library. It makes sense. Meanwhile, Philip is off actually investigating the fiancé, who it turns out is kind of a scumbag.
Yeah, total scumbag. Like, he is an artist, and it sounds like he targets young, impressionable models to do bad things to them.
God damn, we learned this from the schoolgirl informants, and I had literally written down, at this point they're only giving info, so this is actually a good scene with them. But then one of them starts slut-shaming the other, and it's a bad...
It's a real bad look. Come on, Queen Elizabeth. Characters. Just get your shit together.
Santa shows up, and he really should be near anybody this young.
Yep.
But, yeah. Anyway, back on the plot. Sachi, which is the sister's actual name. Wait, I have a tendency in these notes, and I assume you do, to just write down the people as their relationships, Coma sister, fiance, stuff like that. Like, I haven't written down the fiance's name.
Oh, I do that for the main fucking characters, Harry. This is me. Like, you keep saying names after I say Back Scratcher Cop. I'm assuming that that's probably their real name. I will never know.
She saw her fiance with another woman and bought the WMD just to kind of, I don't know, make him a little bit sick. She wasn't sure if she wanted to use it, but now Philip says that she's under the sway of the Gaia memory, and she's not able to, like, her own will is being suppressed. She's just kind of stuck in murder mode.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it's kind of for the best that Cross took her out when he did, lest, a virus WMD appear on the scene and just kill the city.
Cross is the real hero.
Truly, he is. He is the best of them.
He's like, you're not going to get this reference, but he's the truck driver in all the isekai stories who kills people and sends them to another universe.
Yeah, I did not get that reference.
Well, one of our two listeners probably laughed.
Are we up to 2? That's a good start.
No, that's down 2. We had 3.
Oh, well, shit.
I don't know, they may just not have downloaded it yet. It's hard to get a precise number. I think we need to stop reporting on the statistics until somebody goes for that offer we had. The offer is still valid. Get a couple listeners. And in the downloads page, all of these arrows are just pointing down.
Alright, so there's a fight. The virus monster shows up at the ex-fiance's place, and Kamen Rider also shows up. They throw down. Kamen Rider uses fire to burn away, like, the infectious material. It actually makes logically consistent sense.
Yeah, like I had said at the beginning of the series, this Kamen Rider Double has the most logical power set and use of them of any Kamen Rider I've seen.
Although there is one thing that I truly must point out. So, right before the transformation into Kamen Rider, Philip is sitting on the ground in the hospital.
And he stands up to transform.
And he stands up to transform and immediately falls down onto the hard floor. It's a hospital, Harry. They have hard, polished floors so that they could roll the tables around everywhere.
Yeah, they could have even done a gimmick where he falls into a wheelchair and Akiko rolls him around or something.
They could have done anything.
But yeah, Shotaro literally vaporizes the dopant because it's just a ghost body this time.
Mm-hmm.
The memory pops out of the comatose Sachi? Yeah, Sachi.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing real good as a vengeful ghost there. Like, she showed up in a the wedding dress that then turned to her kind of infected, very really creepy looking form.
Yeah, she was pulling a full The Grudge or The Ring.
Even though her revenge rampage maybe wasn't a great idea, she was doing her best.
Mm-hmm. And as the episode comes to a close, Shotaro punches the ex-fiancé in the face, and we get another tale where Shotaro catches the cold finally, meaning that he has learned something valuable this episode.
Imagine if he had tried to solve this relationship dispute like the one he did for the dancing episode.
Mm-hmm. You should stick with the comatose girl.
No, that would have been... would it more have been like telling the comatose girl to, give the guy another shot?
No. It would be convincing the fiancé to forgive the comatose girl for trying to kill him.
Now kiss that virus topods, mister.
Mm-hmm.
You better be smooching.
All right, and that is the episode. Oh, Philip and Akiko are playing Old Maid at the end as well. It's a nice callback.
I wrote the exact same thing. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
And Shotaro gets a cold. Waka waka.
Yep.
So, yeah. It's a competent episode of television, so we just kind of blitz through it.
Yep. We really need those dumpster fires to make these episodes interesting.
So before we get into the story of Nasubi, what did you think of the episode? What is your plot speculation, Sam?
So my plot question is, why the fuck is the evil family selling WMDs to randos on the street, especially on spec? I'm not sure what their grand plan is. Like, are they just literal chaos agents? Are they fine just handing nuclear weapons to random people? Like, is there another memory in the future that is effectively a WMD handed to the worst possible person that could just take everyone out?
Let me think.
Like, is that a thing for them? Are they trying to depopulate the Earth? And if so, why are they starting in their city? I know they're anti-clean energy. Like, are they an apocalyptic cult?
They have a specific goal in mind, and it's not just destroy everything everywhere.
Would the goal be furthered or hindered by the population of their city being wiped out?
You can make an argument that it would kind of be along the plan.
Okay. So long as they're consistent, but, like, just handing out random biological weapons to people on the street doesn't seem like a great path to victory for them at the moment.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, the next arc is, again, very Sonozaki heavy. So you get to learn a little bit more about them and their whole deal.
Excellent. Oh, and just kind of random aside, like, I watched the new Jack Ryan TV show this week. Like, are you familiar with that one, Harry?
I mean, I know it's the Tom Clancy books. Jack Ryan is the guy. It has Jim. I assume it's lots of Jack Ryan just looking at the camera and shrugging while terrorists explode in the background.
Kind of. I mean, it's a semi-competent show, but, like, it kind of lost me. It's an 8-episode series, and in episodes 5, 6, and 7, it is revealed that this tiny, like, terrorist that no one knew about, like, before a week ago, somehow has access to sarin gas chemical weapons, Ebola biological weapons, and straight up Russian nuclear weapons.
Now, when you say tiny terrorist, like, is that a figure of speech, or is it a
It's
person
like
of less than
it's
usual
20
height?
guys in the middle of the desert. Like it's
So a tiny terrorist cell, not a
yeah, a
normal
tiny
person.
terrorist cell. But it's like the writers were, hey, this we have a terrorist. He's plotting to take down America. What should he use? Should it be a biological weapon, a chemical weapon, a nuclear weapon? And then they're just like, fuck it, all three.
And like the nuclear weapons, they're not like dirty bombs made with
Well, it
hospital waste, right? I think they're like enriched plutonium stuff.
well, it's a dirty bomb, not a straight up nuke, but it's a dirty bomb made from very controlled, specific radioactive substances.
There's an argument to be made that that stuff is way deregulated in certain circumstances. Like there was all that stuff where, uh, maybe I've just played too much Metal Gear Solid, where it's like, oh, they talk about how there's the black market for nuclear material and stuff like that. But I don't know.
I know, but don't give them all three. Especially, it's an 8 episode limited run series. Just do one. One is terrifying enough.
Yeah, you got to build that. Plus, like, well, I should get into it, but I think we both talked with that guy who was like a national security planner at a party where he talked about that you could actually just take down the most of the American power grid with like very specific small tools.
Yeah, tools that we probably shouldn't mention on a broadcast episode. But anyway,
Fuck it. NSA like security listeners, those are listeners.
our download count spikes. Hey, it's the FBI.
A fan's a fan. Uh, Speaking of terrible ideas,
Oh, great.
do you want to get into the story of Nasubi?
Yes, fine. Let's get into the story of Nasubi.
When you first, I remember in one of the earlier episodes, you said something about, is this guy like he's supposed to be weird? And it said, I don't know, he's probably some just kind of character actor or something like that. Well, he is a comedian, and when he was a young comedian, he got very famous for specific projects that he was involved in. He was like part of an audition, but he won the audition through winning kind of a lottery thing, which everybody in the audition thought was strange, but he won it. And he was like, "Yay! I get to do a show." And they say, "All right, let's go do it." Oh, what? Like right now? So he was blindfolded, put in a van. He was driven around for a while, and when the blindfold was taken off, he was alone in an apartment with a bunch of postcards, magazines, a pen, and nothing else. At which point, he was told to take off all his clothes.
Wait, is this the guy who had to survive by, like, sending letters into contests?
Oh, you know the story? Damn it. Oh, I was hoping this would be entirely fresh for you, but yeah, he is
that guy. Oh my god.
that guy. How much of the story do you know?
I know what was reported on This American Life.
There's a This American Life about him?
Yes.
Okay, so...
I'm sorry I took the wind out of your sails, Harry.
Oh, but they're still fucking...
Yeah, let's still talk about it. Like, what is the overlap for a Tokusatsu project and This American Life?
It exploits young actors who don't know the rights, because, yeah, he did get food for a few days, because he didn't win any through contests, so he lost a lot of weight before he got some, like, kind of sweet drinks. He had to win a million yen through kind of write-in contests and phone contests and stuff like that. And he also had to get everything he was going to use, and that includes clothes. So, and he never got any clothes, so he was naked the whole time. And he didn't know it, but he was on a live stream.
Wait, they didn't tell him he was on a live stream? I thought that was known.
No, he did. He literally thought that it was going to be recorded later, and like the whole project he was going to complete it, and that eventually they'd edit it out. But so he didn't know that he was like being watched the whole time.
Oh my god.
Because
that is evil.
he had no human contact. Sam, do you know he had no human contact?
Yeah, for how long did he last? Like a year?
335 days for the first stage.
Ugh. What was the second stage?
He lived for a year in an apartment, kind of going slightly insane. By slightly insane, I probably mean entirely insane. Eating dog food, and God, I kind of skimmed, like, because there's not a lot of it in English, but I watched some of the videos on YouTube, and it's not a man in the right mind.
No, of course not. No human contact for a year alone is enough to, like, drive a person mad, and if he was naked the entire time and, like, literally struggling to survive by writing letters to contests for food...
he could only talk with the mailman, who was also instructed to talk with him as little as possible, because fuck human rights. 335 days it took him to win his first target. He was then blindfolded and clothed and taken to a surprise location.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, he kind of went along believing he was going to get a prize or something.
Yeah.
So when they took off his blindfold, he found out that they'd taken him to South Korea, and he was challenged to get enough money to get home.
Was he still naked?
Made him take his clothes off.
How did he do?
I mean, he survived.
Did he?
What can you say? He did it. He did more contests. He got enough money to get back to Japan. It says that overall the whole experience was 15 months. So it was 335 days in Japan. So
like 4 months in Korea?
Yeah, 4 months in Korea. I'm not sure if he speaks Korean, by the way. That may have been a problem.
Yeah, probably.
So then he was again clothed and blindfolded and taken to another apartment. When they took off the blindfold, he just looked around. I'm quoting from Wikipedia. When he was unblindfolded, he looked around, sighed, and took all of his clothes off. At which point, the walls of the apartment fell away to reveal that he was in a live TV studio with a huge audience. And he literally didn't understand what was going on because he thought nothing had been broadcast yet. Apparently broke all records in ratings with 17 million viewers. And this is Japan, which has, like, 17 million viewers would be bonkers in America, and we have how many times their population?
I'm looking up the population of Japan. Japan population. Okay, Japan has... Let's see. 127... Wait, it has 127 million. What was that, Harry? Did you say 17 million?
17 million.
So
that's like a third...
15% of the population.
That's like 50 million people watching a show, and if this was America.
So he's famous for being tortured.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely famous. Also, he reported being hot and sweaty wearing clothing after his ordeal, and he couldn't speak properly with other human beings for 6 months.
Oh my god.
All of the story means that he went on to become, famous enough to be in a Kamen Rider show, which is, I guess, moderate fame. And he was in, like, a couple other movies and things like that, and he has a comedian troupe. And, just this final quote directly from Wikipedia. Nasubi reports that he is grateful for his experience and that the producer apologized to him. The producer says that he has no regrets and did not apologize, that his goal is to produce miracles on film, and with Nasubi, this is what happened.
Well done. Well done. Yep. And that, young people, is why you join SAG. That specifically is why you join SAG.
Some people will do anything for fame. So my question to you for this episode, Sam, is what the fuck? Isn't this a war crime?
Well, I mean, it really depends on the contract he signed when he was going into it, and I'm not entirely sure what the laws are like in Japan. Like,
I think solitary confinement is literally considered a form of torture these days.
But it's only considered a war crime if you do it to someone on the field of war who's, not a citizen in your country.
That's the bonkers thing. I mean, theoretically, he could have been like, hey, I want to leave. I'm going to leave this apartment now.
Yes, if the North Koreans did that to him, it would have been a war crime. But since the Japanese did it to him, then not a war crime.
Because the Japanese did it to him, he became a star.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think he won. This wasn't for, like, a prize or anything. I think the only thing that... He may have gotten money for this because apparently he was keeping a diary the whole time in there, and the diaries became, like, bestsellers.
The ramblings of a madman, yes. Alright, so we should probably close the episode about here.
The whole world of Kamen Rider, there's weird stories with actresses. Like, Four's the one lady who was Yuki, now she's joined a weird space cult. Like the Super Happy Science cult or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's other weird things with other... I don't know. It's...
We'll get into it. I'm sure there will be one of these for every single season of Kamen Rider.
Yeah, maybe we'll do actor spotlights and stuff like that. But, starting next episode, we're definitely going to be doing some more content than this. and I'll put it in the episode titles so you'll know. And send in questions and emails.
Are you checking the email, Harry?
Yeah, nothing on Brokusatsu. Brokusatsu at gmail.com.
Or on Facebook at Brokusatsu.
At this point, if you send us an email and it's not like white nationalist propaganda, we'll probably read it.
So, are we closing down?
Yeah, let's end this. So, next episode is episodes 13 and 14 of Kamen Rider Double, Q on the Radio.
Wait, I thought we were doing the movie next episode.
Well, we'll do that after the episodes because the movie happens between episodes 14 and 15.
Okay.
So we'll do Q on the Radio, and also Kamen Rider X Kamen Rider Double and Decade Movie Wars 2010.
Yay.
So for next time, Sam, do you want to play a game?
Oh, it's a Saw parody? Yay!